Hello, good evening. Welcome to another Unplugged Live. We're just waiting for Sergio and Gabriel to join us. And, we'll keep on with the topic for today. So they should be joining us in a minute, and we'll start our live session. Good evening,
Good
Sergio.
evening, Lionel.
How are you?
I'm fine. Just a little bit tired today. Long day, exciting
Long,
day as
long
well.
tour.
Long tour, long everything, long night, long day, long
Okay,
morning, but it's one of the most joyful days that I had in a long time. And so
that's
I'll
good.
probably get into that a little bit later on. That is if the guy from the party town decides to join
Yeah,
us.
well, he should be here in the moment. So,
It's probably doing the
okay,
Pedro,
Gabriel's
Pedro.
here. Accept. And good evening.
Good evening.
How are you, Gabriel?
I'm good today. I took it was a office day, but I woke up very early in the morning. I went to some workout. I spent some time with my daughter, and then I didn't go to the beach today. I went 3 days in a row, so I'm done with the beach for today. Yeah.
So the topic for today, we're going to talk about beaches, but today you didn't go to the beach.
Yeah, sometimes I the beach is right there, just 2 kilometers.
Well,
Sometimes
good evening,
I'm
everybody,
done.
once again. So we're here for another Unplugged Live. I'm Leonel Rodrigues from Desirable Portugal Tours, and I'm based near Lisbon. Gabriel Lima from the Algarve just joined, so from Albufeira, from GL Tours, the guy from the party town and the beach area. And also we have
Yes.
Sérgio Costa from Portugal EV Tours, based in Porto. So, the topic for today, we're going to talk about, some options about beaches, not only the popular spots are, the places you should visit or you should consider visiting. There's a lot more to see, and we're going to discuss a little bit about that, and also about some precautions to have while going to some lesser known or less visited places. Okay. Well, Gabriel, it's a guy from the beach area, but I will start with Sergio. So let's start with northern Portugal. He might have something to tell us, because I know that on that area there's some very unique spots. So, what do you want to share with us today, Sergio?
Well, good evening, everyone. I feel like I'm a little bit at the loss over here right now because the guy from the north usually has the colder water
Yeah. You
at
you
its
are too
doorstep.
white. I
Yeah,
can see
and
your skin very white.
no,
I'm tan.
that's because of the lights. I have to change the light, the temperature of the light bulb.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I was saying that I was a little bit at the loss over here, and I feel like I'm the lesser of the three because over here in the north of Portugal is not precisely is not exactly known for as a beach destination, but we do have some interesting locations over here, and even the beaches around the Porto area, I would say, and beaches of Porto are actually very interesting, not for the beach going aspect, but rather because of the geology aspect of the beaches themselves. It's actually a bit of a geological interest site to wander around the beach area because the beaches of Portugal were once the ocean floor. And this is actually one of the rare instances where you get to see what the ocean floor used to look like or looks like, short of doing a little bit of scuba diving or taking a submarine to visit the ocean floor. It's also a very interesting area for people wandering around at kids. I mean, which kid doesn't like the beach?
Hmm.
But it's very interesting because of the rock formations that we have on the beach, which create some tidal pools over there, which are very interesting. And especially during the low tide, the kids they can just go up and down the rocks and finding those little pools, which very often have lots of animals and seaweeds and whatnot. And it's very interesting because they're very fascinated with exploring the life of the tidal pools. We're talking animals like sea urchins, sea cucumbers, What else? Sea stars as well. And sometimes little fish also get stuck in those tidal pools. And then when the high tide comes in again, those animals are once again free. But it's a fun place to explore. And during the low tide, kids absolutely love it. And if you just want to take a little bit of a break from the kids, and if you trust them to take care of themselves, let them explore the beach area. Very interesting. I know as a kid over here in the north of the country, that's something that I was very fond of doing. And because the water over here in the north of Portugal, it's not exactly warm, so we would rather stay in the towel and explore the little tidal pools on the rocks. So this is for the beaches of Porto. But then in the north of the country, we do have some famous beach destinations, at least amongst the locals and north of Portugal people. Like for example, we have Aveiro and Costa Nova are very popular beach destinations. And we also have a little bit closer to Porto, we have Espinho. And then if you go to the north of the country, you have places like Esposende, Apulia, very interesting locations as well. And we also have in Vila do Conde the interesting beach. Gabriel already looked up when he heard Vila do Conde because he knows which
Yeah,
beach I'm talking about. We have the Azurara beach over there.
very
So
good,
all of
really
this
beautiful.
is within, except for probably Aveiro, all of this is within a 30-minute drive from Porto. And so these are some of the coastal pools that I have to talk about, but then we also have some inland ones. And inland pools are also a very interesting destination because they offer you a completely different experience. And the first one that comes to mind for me, it's the natural lagoons of the National Park of Peneda Gerês. Very beautiful location, not so easy access. So take care when going over there because if accidents happen over there, they tend to happen over there, unfortunately. And the only way that you can get evacuated right now is through airlift. So a helicopter has to come in and take you to the hospital. It's not a very easy situation. So use extreme caution when visiting the natural pools of the Natural Park of Serra do Gerês. Another one that is a little bit of an unknown gem in the northeast corner of Portugal. We have probably one of the largest lakes of this area over here, which is the Azibo. And the Azibo is near the Mirandela area. It's a very beautiful location, has a very good infrastructure over there. And it's a, how should I say, it's less than it's an hour and a half to 2 hours away from Porto, but in the vicinity you have a whole new different country, so to speak, to explore. Not only as the beach, but the gastronomy as well. It's kind of part of a Douro Valley transitioning into Beira Alta wine region. So there's also wines for people who like to explore the wine region, the wine country as well. So there's a little bit of everything for everyone. So you can't go wrong with the Azibo if you're sticking to the north of Portugal area. And then one of my favorite ones, it's probably the Sabor Lakes. You have to go even further beyond Mirandela, beyond the Azibo. And then once you get to the Sabor Lakes, very beautiful destination. Doesn't have the infrastructure that the Azibo has, but nonetheless, it's quite a bit more natural. And for people who enjoy the vistas, good vistas, and sightseeing and whatnot, you can relax a little bit by one of the Azibo beach, sorry, not the Azibo, the Sabor beaches, and then have a lunch over there, and then go up to one of the many viewpoints that we have in an elevation, and you have fantastic pictures, fantastic views from that corner over there. It's almost like an untouched, pristine land that we have over there, where we have lakes in between the different hills that are part of the Sabor Lake. And the Sabor, for the people who don't know, is also a tributary of the Douro River. So it's all over here concentrated in the north of Portugal. So now I'm gonna pass the ball to Lionel because he probably has something along the lines of beaches around the Lisbon area, central of Portugal, and we're gonna leave the best for last. Today it's going to be Gabriel because over there he enjoys the beach very much. So
Not
take it
just
Well,
away,
me,
Lionel.
not just me. The beaches nowadays they are full of Portuguese people coming from North Portugal, but I will go there. Just go ahead,
okay.
Lino.
Well, first, well, let me tell you, Sergio, that you mentioned some places that I know and I like them a lot. In fact, a year ago, in August last year, I was having vacation right next to the Azibo lake. And I love that area. Okay, it's a totally different place. Even in August, it felt particularly quiet, okay, for vacation to relax. So it was amazing. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about a few other places that can be quite distinct. First, well, I've been insisting a little bit on this. I live less than 20 minutes away from Ericeira, and Ericeira, it's now getting into the radar of a lot of people because it got the award of World Tourism Village last year. The town itself, it's quaint, it's nice. Of course, it's very lively. It's all about surfing because even that a lot of people just think about surfing about Nazaré. Ericeira, it's World Surf Reserve for more than 10 years ago already. So surfing, it's all over the place. But Ericeira, in fact, has this world classification of World Surf Reserve. But around here, there's a few other nice spots that a lot of people sometimes miss. Even talking a little bit about the places near the ocean. Well, first of all, a little bit south of Nazaré, that because I'm using Nazaré as the reference point, a lot of people are missing São Martinho do Porto. That is a very nice natural bay, great for families with kids because the cliffs near the ocean, they break the waves, so we end up having a sea beach but with a very calm water, or considerably calmer water than right in front of the ocean itself. And then a little bit further south, you have the areas of Foz do Orelho, Bom Sucesso, and everything around the lagoon of Óbidos Lagoon. Óbidos, it's another popular name, but most people don't know that there's a very nice lagoon over there that can be great for, well, to stay on the beach, for water sports, so canoeing, kayaking, windsurf, paddleboarding, all of that. Even for people that like bird watching, there are some nice walkways, some nice trails over there. And this is just, 10 minutes away from Óbidos, a very popular place. Of course, well, around here, around the coast, we have a lot to see, a lot to share. So to add to your list, I would really say, okay, instead of just thinking about Nazaré, add São Martinho do Porto, something around the Óbidos Lagoon, and if you want an alternative town to go to stay to visit, Ericeira itself. But now let me go a little bit more inland, and I'm gonna go a bit around the Tejo River, the Tagus River. Going up the river, there is a place that very few people talk about. It seems like it's been, quite requalified, refurbished. I need to go there to see, the works finished because I haven't been there for a while. Valada do Ribatejo. At Valada has now, some lounges, some beach bars, a little bit of a nice area to stay and to hang around. But then if you go further up the Tejo River, we end up going to some very quaint places as well. Not far away from Belvir, that is a beautiful town with a nice castle that very few people end up visiting. We have the beaches of Alamal and the walkways of Alamal. So I'm thinking always on an option of spending some time on the beach, spending some time on the water, enjoying a little bit of water sports, whatever, but also having something to do next to it. So Valada, it's, I would say, 45 minutes to 1 hour from Lisbon. This area of Belvira, Lamal, they are like 1 hour 45 from Lisbon-ish. I'm talking about driving times. Okay. And these are two great places that people can consider. Of course, there's a few others. By example, going a little bit further up near the Zezer River and the Castelo de Bode reservoir, the lakes of Castelo de Bode, you have some nice places. And you can go a little bit further up and go to the river beach of Agrual, or the waterfalls and the river beach near Penedo Furado. Okay, so these are places right in the center of Portugal, around the Zézere River and a little bit further north of the Castelo de Bode reservoir. These are places that, well, driving time from Lisbon are around 2 hours. But now I can mention something else, and something that I know, Sergio, that you also enjoyed last year. Let's go inland. Let's go to the Alqueva. Okay,
Yeah.
and around the Alqueva Lake, that is the biggest man-made lake we have in the Iberian Peninsula. Um, we end up having a lot of river beaches. Montserrat has one. You have at Mourão another one. You have the area of Amieira as well. So you have a lot of nice places with artificially made beaches. Okay, but with great conditions for people to go there to enjoy well, everything water related, and of course, once again, with great food around. There's some great wineries nearby on that area as well. Of course, you have the historical villages to visit, and even just mentioning Moura, Mourão, Monsaraz, that is more popular for people that like pottery. They are not far away from São Pedro do Corval. So these are all great things to do, and of course, well, adding this to some beach time. So, in fact, it's not only on the popular spots that you can well, hang around on the beach. There's a lot more to enjoy around this. So these are just well, my 2 cents about this subject. But of course now, well, let's go to the Algarve. So let's talk with our well, beach expert over here. And well, what do you have to tell us today, Gabriel?
Well, yeah, well, it was nice to hear you. Some of the places you mentioned, I already know. Some of the places I've been there. I'm quite a traveler, you know. I'm not just a guy who lives in the Algarve, and I don't. I really like to explore our country. I've been so many times in Gerês, Douro, Serra da Estrela. The photo I posted, I took this photo at the very highest beach in Portugal, and it was amazing. I've been in Amieira, Alqueva. I've been all over the west coast, Ericeira, I don't know, Nazaré, even in North Portugal. But of course, why people in summer, they drive towards south. The main thing is the differences in temperature and the wind. We all know we have this nortada, which is these north winds who are constant in the west coast. Sometimes it's foggy in the morning. I mean, so I'm aware about this. So no wonder, even yesterday, after 3 big beach days, yesterday we just went just for a dive, and we've been here in Albufeira, and I noticed there's a now in September in the place I used to go, I no longer heard so many tourists, international tourists, but many Portuguese people. They arrived, families. Some of the guys, they were like ghosts. I mean, very white. Because then it was funny. I had a very big group right next to me. Of course, I understood they were from the area of Certo for sure, Maia, Porto, because the accent, it was so much from Porto area. Right? A água está tão boa with this accent. So I really understood these people around me. They came from North Portugal, and they were amazed with the water temperature. Because yesterday the water temperature, it was around 23, which is 23, which is around 74. I mean, here in Albufeira. But well, let's talk a bit about the Algarve. So in the Algarve, we have 2 coastlines, and then we have also some nice river beaches. Let's start from there. We have a very nice one in Alcotim, very popular. It got some awards. I mean, it's no longer a hidden gem, because if I go there in August, it's going to be crowded too. So it's really in the Algarve, although it's very close to the Alentejo. A bit further north, close to Mértola. It's not in the Algarve, but it's quite close. Minas de São Domingos. It's one of the most beautiful river beaches in the country. They got some awards too, or at least Some journalists from different countries, they said it's one of the most beautiful river beaches, and it is very nice. And the place itself, it's very beautiful too. We have another one also on the way to the Alentejo, right next to the National 2, our very popular inland route, kind of our Route 66, very popular, that goes from Faro to Chaves or vice versa. So here in Michial, more or less about 1 hour away from Albufeira, 50 minutes away from Faro, we have this beautiful Fonte da Seixeira with the very nice conditions. And 5 days ago or so, my brother-in-law, he went there with my nephew and my niece, and they sent me nice photos, and it was very quiet. So it's actually a good option to get away from the hustle and bustle that we have here in August. So there's no other way to put this. In August, sometimes I hear people complaining about the crowds, but yeah, for God's sake, so August in the Algarve rhymes with crowds. So we have crowds everywhere, inclusive in the West Coast too. So let's start with the West Coast. So the water in the West Coast is also cold because we have there the same current, the Canary Current that comes from North Atlantic and then come towards Canary Island. We have also this upwell effect. So usually close to the beach, the water is colder than if we go a few kilometers into the ocean offshore. This happens also in Porto area, Lisbon area. So for guys like me, and I'm very passionate about meteorology and all these nature things, sometimes I think, why the hell the warm water don't come a bit closer to the coast? But it's this upwell effect due to the constant wind. So here in the West Coast, the beaches, they are absolutely amazing. It's the Vicentina nature park, kind of a national park. Of course, pretty much like in the Alentejo, but here in the South Coast. Even a year ago, Sergio, we've been there in Amado, in Bordeira, also in Sagres. The beaches, they are absolutely amazing, beautiful. They are even better at low tide, I have to admit. At least in my opinion, they are more beautiful. But the water is always cold, and we always feel these cold winds, this breeze. Personally, I like this. I like cold. But I would never spend 10 hours like I spent 3 days ago close to the border with Spain. So close to Montegordo, Praia Verde, Manta Rota. And why? Because the temperature there is way higher. I'm talking about 10 Celsius, the difference. And the water is just for you to have an idea. I was just checking the current temperatures. So, for instance, now in the West Coast, in Arifana, very popular beach, we have less than 17, which is around 62 Fahrenheit. Close to Lagos in the Praia da Luz, we have 19.1, which is around 66. In Faro, which is not even that close to Spain, we have 22.8, which is 73 Fahrenheit. So it's a huge difference when it comes for the temperature, not only the air, but also the water. But there's more. The beaches in the western side of the Algarve, in the central area, let's say from Armação de Pera, Salgados, the beaches in Albufeira, Vila Moura, Quarteira, Valdelope, then Faro Islands, Olhão, Tavira Highlands, Cabanas, and then this stretch of 16 kilometers, 10 miles, that goes from Cacela to the Guadiana River. That's where we have the soft sand, the shallow waters, less waves. Of course, sometimes we have also waves too, because the weather is not, we don't have a remote. So some days the weather is crazy. And some days the water there can get cold too, because sometimes we have the north winds that create this upwell effect too. Sometimes the water is even warmer a bit offshore. So in short, here in the Algarve, we have officially under 33 beaches. Sometimes I go to some spots where the beaches, they don't even have a lifeguard, so they are not official. Of course, I don't just suggest people to go there, especially if they don't know how to swim, or because they don't know the place, right? And let's be honest, maybe I mean, maybe because I was born and raised in Far, I'm so used to the long sandy beaches. I never dealt so much with, rocks. So I remember always run into the water and poof, here I go. I can dive. I can't do this in many places here in Albufeira or in Lagos or in the West Coast because we have lots of rocks under the water. So it could be also danger. So I mean, yeah, the Algarve it's quite popular as a beach destination. Of course, this is way more than beaches. But as for the beaches, we have many, and I always, I suggest people when they visit the Algarve, don't get just stick with one place. I know some spots they are more popular, maybe they are more scenic, maybe on Instagram you see more photos from some places. But if you have a car or I don't know, by train or Uber or hire a guide, uh, try to travel through different parts of the Algarve, and then you will see this diversity I'm talking about. And as a local, now I'm going to say this as a local, you know me, guys. I never understood this kind of comparisons because I like the whole beaches here, from Odisseia to Montegordo, Sagres, Lagos, whatever. They are absolutely amazing. Just here in Albufeira, where I live, we have about 20 kilometers coastline. We have 25 beaches. Some they are huge, like Falésia, Rocha Baixinha, or Salgados. And then we have the small coves when we can see, like my daughter, 8 years old, the tidal pools at low tide. They are absolutely amazing. And the water, and it's shallow. I mean, the West Coast is amazing, but even for a guy like me, and I'm a good swimmer, let's say. Not I'm not Michael Phelps, but I know how to swim. Jesus Christ! When I go to the West Coast, I always pay very attention. Currents, the rip curls, whatever. It's pretty scary. And there's one small aspect. Sometimes I like to share this with my guests, and they notice the water in the South Coast, the ocean, it's a bit more clear than the West Coast. Why? So in the West Coast, it looks like deep blue. Here, sometimes it's more like green. Why? Well, the sun basically is, they have the same color, but it's because we are turned towards south. So the sun is hitting the water, and so we can see more clear. There's more light under the water. You know? Do you understand? In the West Coast, it doesn't happen. I'm pretty sure in North Spain, in Coruña, whatever, when they are towards North Pole, the ocean there is dark. Well, I remember because I've been in Cuxhaven in Germany, and I remember, Jesus Christ, the water it's dark. It's not like the very clear water we have here. Well, maybe I'm a local, so I feel so comfortable here. But
you have a great example. You have a great example to compare with that. Go to the beaches near the Arrábida mountain. By example, to Portinho da Rábida and such. When you look from the top of the mountain, it looks totally clear into the bottom of the sea. Okay, because it's facing south. So
exactly. Maybe the same in Cascais. Maybe the same in Carcavelos in Cascais, so it's turned south. So but this also makes me feel more comfortable, and I'm pretty sure many other people. Just to finish my introduction here, if you have kids, if you have some mobility issues because you have a certain age, sometimes we have young people with 8 years old. Definitely, again, I'm not trying to sell the Eastern over Western, but close to the border in Spain, Montegordo, Praia Verde, Tavira Highland, the water is very shallow. I mean, I can literally walk like 150 meters at low tide, and the water still under my knees. So it's very safe here in the eastern part of the Algarve. Also also close to Albufeira, Armação de Pera, Praia da Rocha, Lagos, but there we have to be more careful because there's lots of rocks. I'm going to give you an example. Praia da Marinha, one of the most beautiful beaches. I agree. But then you have to be careful because especially at low tide, if you try to walk into the water, you are stepping the rocks and you can easily get some kind of injury. So guys, in short, come to visit us, Portugal. In summer, of course, the water is way warmer and the weather, but even in winter, it's very pleasant for big hikings. And well, there's always some crazy people, from North Europe, from Canada, from wherever they came from the cold. And even in January, I can see them swimming, and I think they are doing very well. I go to swim in winter too because I love cold water.
And
Okay,
it's
guys,
funny
so
that you
I think I
mentioned
said it
that
all.
because we actually have a tradition over here of bathing in the winter.
January the 1st.
Yes, some people,
Yeah.
some locations, they like to
Yeah,
take the
that's
first
same
bath of the
here.
year on January 1st, and they go to
Yeah,
the
Oh,
ocean on January
yeah.
1st.
yeah.
If
Oh,
it was
yeah,
me, I would probably do that in the Algarve because I'm a north of Portugal guy. So for me, the water in the Algarve is always warm.
yeah, I think so because even in winter, for instance, like I said, now in the West Coast, the water is around 17. Sometimes in December, that's when we have the 17 degrees too. So I mean,
Mhm.
well, I can do it. I don't understand why people they don't like cold. I feel good with cold. I don't know. Maybe in another life I was a ice cream or something like that. Okay.
Well, half an hour just went through, so time flies.
Yeah,
And
exactly. I don't know if we have any questions because I was so focused sharing this stuff here.
well, for me, we shared a little bit about great places to have fun. We'll be back next week with another Unplugged Live. And thank you once again for joining, and thank you for watching. So we got you some good ideas. If you have some other questions, feel free to leave them on the comments. And we'll be back here next week with more,
Yeah,
a few more insights about our lovely country. So thank
yeah.
you very much for watching, and
Thank
good
you
evening
all.
to everybody.
Have a great evening.
Bye
See you next
bye.
week.
Have
Thank
a
you.
good week
Bye.
ahead. Bye bye, guys. Thank you.